I am going to be demonstrating the Esri Collector app, which is linked to ArcGIS Online. Now, just bear with me while I move everything back over onto the main screen. So what I'm going to do is show you the process for creating a form in ArcMap, or creating a basic data set, uploading it to ArcGIS Online, and then connecting to that using the Esri Collector app. So we've actually tested this with Trent Rivers Trust recently. Myself and Lucy are involved in the Waterlife project. So I'm just going to show you in true Blue Peter style some data we prepared earlier. I'm afraid I'm not actually going to try testing uploading it to ArcGIS Online while also hosting a multiple webinar, because I think my broadband might fall over. So you'll just have to take it on faith that it does upload to ArcGIS Online, but I will show you how to do that. So the process is really to create a data set in ArcMap. So obviously this depends on having an ArcMap license. I think the majority of CaBA partnerships are either using ArcMap or MapInfo based on our survey, but ArcMap is available for £100 plus VAT to charities, though increasingly we're seeing people moving over to that. What you also get is a ArcGIS Online organisational account, which we are in the process of setting up for several of our Rivers Trusts at the moment, involved in some of our projects. But you can actually set this up for free, which means you can host your own data and serve it out in a variety of forms, as web maps, as applications, story maps, all sorts of things. And myself and Lucy have been building some demonstrations. We're sharing what we're learning via the CaBA forum, and we're hoping probably early next year we're going to put on a training course in this, just to share what we've learned, really. Okay, so the first stage is to create a geodatabase, and what you do is you actually set up, if you go into the properties of the geodatabase, you can set up a domain which will contain any fields in your various drop downs. So I'm just going to create a very simple one just to show you the process, really. So, and then you create a text domain, and then you can create your code. So it saves you having to type in lots of text, probably a bit clunkier than some of your customizable apps, but it does give you the power to maintain and access your own data. I think it's all pluses and minuses with these. So these are just the descriptions that the end user will see. And your codes are what actually appears in your database. So I'll just okay that. So that just appears as a domain. I then need to create a new data set to store my data. And in this case, I want points. You just set what grid format, and then you can add in your fields. And this is where you would actually use your domain to pick the drop downs. And obviously you can add in any other fields. You can have an auto date field that will, with a little bit of code, you can put in the date. Anything you want to record in here. So you've got ultimate flexibility, basically. I'll put in the notes field as well. So anyone who's sort of familiar with using ArcMap should be able to use this fairly easily. So once you've got your data set in here, obviously this is one I prepared earlier, so I'm just going to turn that off. This one's empty at the moment. What I then do is publish it up to ArcMap. So I do share as a service. And because I'm already connected to the Trent Rivers Trust ArcGIS Online account, you do that through Arc Catalog. You just log in. Once you've set that up, you get login details. give it a service name, and you basically specify that you want it as a feature service. So there's two different types of service. Tile services are basically backdrop maps, so you don't interact with them. Feature services, you obviously get access to the features themselves. You have to put in metadata, which is good but slightly annoying if you're doing this a lot. And then you can decide who you share it with. And at that stage you publish it, but as I say, I'm not going to do that because I'm just worried it might kill my broadband. But what you will see once you've uploaded it, I can bring that across, is when you log into ArcGIS Online, you will actually see a feature layer that you've uploaded, and you can now load this into a map. So you get you can map anything that you've uploaded online, but also other people's data. That's the power of this. So you might have other organisations that you're working with publishing their own data in sort of open formats, and you can add that in. So I'm going to add it to a map that I had open earlier. So you can choose any of the default base maps, or you can add in, I've got Ordnance Survey open data as a backdrop in here. So really you've got ultimate flexibility with what data you put in and what you display up here. And once you save that map, then this is what you connect to with the Esri Collector app. So I am now hopefully going to share my mobile screen and show you the Esri Collector app itself. So I'll also, if I've got time, show you Snap to Map, which is another one which Esri have developed to help you collect geotagged photos and publish them as a story map. So the Collector app. Now this is one sort of fairly major thing to pick out with this, and it varies, or it differs from some of the apps you've seen earlier, which are sort of more aimed at crowdsourcing and public, large amounts of people collecting data. So to use the Esri Collector app, it has to be connected to an ArcGIS Online account. Now, we think you should be able to set up a generic user and provide people those details to connect. But obviously, that's one more stage that people have to go to. They have to log into that account. So it's probably more aimed at your sort of frequent volunteers or members of staff than it would be to, thousands of members of the public, perhaps. But just something to bear in mind. So you can see we've got several maps here, but this Sora fieldwork map is the one I've just saved. So when I connect that, it will hopefully bring up our data. So at the moment it's hovering over my location, but if I'm trying to click my mouse on my mobile screen. That's very confusing. So I'm just going to search for Leicester now, and you should see. So on my app screen, you can actually see the data that I had on my published map. So you can obviously upload and share live data between ArcGIS Online and this app, which is really powerful. So if you've already had lots of people out surveying and you want them not to duplicate previous effort, then that's a really powerful thing. And you can obviously put up other contextual information on here and add information that way. So what you could do when you're out in the field, this will also work offline, I should say. So it will save records if you haven't got a 3G connection and upload them once you connect. Although one problem we have discovered, if you drop the connection to ArcGIS Online, so the login, and you haven't got 3G, we did have that once out in the field. So I need to just explore that with Esri and find out what the problem is. But so you can either just add a point by clicking the plus, but I'm going to actually click on the map because I'm not actually in Leicester, but I just want to show you. So you can see these are some that I prepared earlier, but we can pick an attribute, and I've actually got quite a few fields in here for recording water quality alongside it as well. As I said, this is one we did as a test. I can also upload a photo, choose from one I've taken earlier or take one there and then. And obviously we can add in the usual notes field. So you can add as many fields as you like in here really, and then just simply submit, and it'll post it onto the local map. If you haven't got a 3G connection, it will store those records and upload them as soon as you connect. So it just does take a minute with photos of spotted. Yes, it is running slowly. Just talk amongst yourselves. Eventually, once it's uploaded, it will appear on the map straight away. So that is one of the big advantages with this, is you get a live link to your data, and you can also load that data straight into ArcMap Desktop. So here are my data sets in ArcGIS Online, and I can literally drag them across into ArcMap and load things straight from the server. So you've got quite a lot of flexibility. Still loading, I'm afraid. So I think it's not usually that slow. I think it's because I'm hosting this as well. Great. Live demos, don't you love them? Okay. I promise this worked yesterday. You'll just have to take my word for it. But basically, when you've loaded your results in here, you've then got access where you've attached a photo. I'll find one with an attachment and so you can actually view the photo online as well, and you can actually customize that pop-up and write HTML, so you could have the photo embedded within it and customize that quite well. As I say, we're only just sort of trialing this at the moment and figuring out what it can do really. So that's that one. I think what I'll do is quickly show you the Snap to Map app as well, because that photo just isn't loading on there. So Snap to Map, again, it's an Esri app, and if you go onto the catchmentbasedapproach.org, onto the discussion forum, Lucy and I have got some posts on there about the different types of applications that you can publish through ArcGIS Online, and one of them is a story map, which it's quite a nice way of viewing photos on a map, but you can have lots of rich content as well. Lucy's been working with Eden Rivers Trust, their education officer, to produce some really nice sort of flood related stories. So she's got embedded sort of feeds from the flood gauges and so on. But this is quite a nice engagement tool, and it's also something which, you know, members of the public could submit their photos and you can put them up on a map and share it on your website and so on. So to do that, you can upload your own photos from Flickr, but this app was quite a nice way of doing something very quickly. So you just have a title and description. So I'm very uninventive with my test. You can pick your base mapping, so choose whichever one you want. You can change that later, take a new photo or choose an existing one. So you can put as many as you like in. Hopefully this one will work a bit smoother, and then you can add you're sort of fairly restricted, but you can put a title and a description against the photos and color code the pin. There are different templates that you can use for this. So you can just have a play and see, and you can actually, although it will take the geotagging from the photo, provided you had that turned on, you can actually refine the position if you want to. And then once you're done, you can either save as a draft and continue working on it, or you can actually publish it up to ArcGIS Online. And then you should be able to share that as a link, so you can go into the edit mode, as you can see here on the website, and work on it more, or you can simply share it as a link, or publicize it, or embed it on your website, whatever you want to do, really. So it's quite a simple way of getting photos out there and mapping them. You can also, because it's all based on ArcGIS Online, you can put your own data sets in here as well for a bit of context if you wanted to show maybe some of your other water quality results or invasive species or whatever else. So I think that was about it for me to demo. Once this is loaded, I can show you online, but there is one I did earlier. So it was just to sort of show the test one, really. That's what it'll look like. You can obviously customize it a lot more and put a lot more text in, and add more photos or sort of other rich content as well.